Okay, 6th of February, Thursday, 6th of February, 2025. So Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Thoughtful Thursday, philosophy and musings from life. How would the world be different if people didn't need to eat? Now this is kind of two in one, really. Because one, it's a thought experiment in general, but also in that thought experiment, that counterfactual, that hypothetical, we can identify things that are very important in life and world, society, you name it. So there's a thought experiment. If we didn't need to eat, let's follow the chain of events. Don't need to eat food. No need to spend time and energy buying food, consuming food, cooking food, nor growing food, and then beyond. Less land for farming, more land for building. Fair enough. Don't need so much gas or electrical appliances, oven, microwave, cooker, air fryer, you name it. So few electronics are needed, less energy demand, and more space in general in the home, things like that. So okay, that's interesting little thing that I thought of years ago. How would that affect and change the world if we didn't need to eat? Well, how would wars be different, or diplomacy be different, or whatever else, and beyond. Fair enough. But also, in these hypothetical questions, there's a very interesting idea of discovering what's important, because then we are thinking through the logical steps. What if this? We wouldn't need that, wouldn't need this, wouldn't need this, wouldn't need X, nor Y, nor Z. And then as we think about these things, we realize, how important is it really, or how vital it is, or how reliant we are, or not reliant on it. So for example, you could say, well, no need to eat food, no need to have farming. No farming means more land, more space. So could that mean then that there could be bigger homes? Could that then mean that cities are more spread out? Now what does that mean for society? If things are further away, then how do we get places? How's that going to affect public transport? What does that mean for cars or taxis and beyond, or public transport? You name it, and bicycles, you name it. Interesting. So it's that thought process, also that idea as well. And then we discover and we understand more of the world by studying that thought process and understanding how these things affect reality, how they could, how they should, how they would, how they ought to affect reality. And by thinking about these things, we can further understand the world around us in a practical, pragmatic sense. If we didn't need to store food, we wouldn't need refrigerators. I could have more space. We'd have different kinds of electronics. We could even save time cooking and eating. What would we do with that free time? And then you could say, well, how important is time to us then? How important is time to you when you really spend all this time doing this one particular action? What if you could spend less time on it? And what would you do elsewhere? There's a nice little expression saying, nature abhors a vacuum. Meaning, I've got this empty space, in this case time, you will find a way to fill it with something. And that's an interesting, dare I say, it's the first principle about humans, that we don't like boredom. We will find something to do with it, with this spare time. And because it's Parkinson's law, where a task will take up the allocated time given. Interesting. Very interesting, possible. So that, interesting thought experiment to think and then to study and look at the causalities of different things, how it would affect reality. And we can find out what's important to us, what's not important to us. Because then you could say the inverse is true as well. The things we didn't even talk about. How would that affect clothes, for example? Because it will, that hypothetical would affect clothes production in some fashion. Smaller sizes would be more common, for example. Okay, so what does that mean for manufacturing? How does that affect manufacturing world or cotton product? Maybe even clothes will be even cheaper because there's more space to grow cotton and whatever else, or maybe more space for the farmers or the factories, you name it. Yeah, interesting little cause and effect, and that's interesting to study and think about and theorize and to have a hypothetical scenario to think about. What happens if? What happens if? And by thinking what happens if, we can strategize better. And inadvertently, we can predict the future better. We have a better understanding of reality. But also we can think of different scenarios. What if this? What if that? Why not this? Why not that? In terms of business or life or whatever else. I'd have a better grasp of reality. So yes. Now, you could also then go one step further and say, No hunger as a driving force. Yeah. Agricultural overhaul or elimination. Yeah. So that would change it. How would that affect, say, animal lives and rights? Culture and culinary impact. Yeah. Well, there'll be no need to cook. So how's that going to affect? How does that affect being human? If there's no art, if there's no way to express yourself through cooking, and how then you could say, how important is it to express yourself through cooking, for the culture, the cuisine? Because nutrition is nutrition on a first principle basis. Potassium is potassium, calories are calories. Protein is protein. What does it matter what form it's come in? It arrives in. Interesting. Yeah, reduced environmental pressure. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. More space, quite literally, for forests. Makes sense. Oh, think of the squirrels. Interesting. But these hypotheticals get us thinking about the world, what's important, and the details, the nitty-gritty of life and reality. And then you amplify it, of course, with knowledge and knowing more things in AI and books, whatever else, and podcasts and videos. Yes, to understand more aspects of reality. This new idea, how would that change things in this thought experiment and elsewhere in reality? Well, if this happens or that happens, well, how's that going to have a knock-on effect? What knock-on effect would it have in reality? That's very important, because something I realized very subtly recently is that history is just a seemingly endless chain of cause and effect. This happened over here, and this and that and that and this and this, and things that happened hundreds of years ago impact reality in the world today. Yes, fascinating. So this is an interesting way of looking at it and thinking about it. What if? What if? What if? Yeah. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.